This is what Doug rode up it on. Honda Goldwing. Thing weighs probably what, 1,200 pounds? 1,000. I have an inferiority complex because then you look at this thing and I feel like so small when I see mine. This thing has everything, absolutely everything. He's loaded and ready to go. He was telling me, what were you saying, right here has airbags? Or you don't have it on this one?
I don't have the airbag, but normally, or you can get the level 4 bike, the airbag fits right here. This is now a glove box for me.
And then look at all these controls, even though I don't know what half of them mean. But this thing has everything. Adjustable windshield. He's got a couple navigation things on here. Heated grips, right? I'm assuming.
Heated front rear seats.
And the space on this thing.
Heat on my ankles.
Yeah, with the deflectors. You said this came with them
the
too?
Engine underneath.
Yeah, I thought this was cool. Where are they at here?
They're all the way. Go to the other side. You
go to the other side. And I'm going to turn it down here. So he can hit a button and that deflects heat up on him to keep him warm. Like in the quote, he said it's amazing. Works really, really well. But
2014, I've got almost 52,000 on it already.
52,000 miles.
All right.
And what do I have? 1,500 on mine, but I just got mine.
You just got yours.
I just got it. So, great bike. Absolutely solid bike. And we've been busting each other's balls the whole time about him with my bike, and I'm with me about his.
I like your sound a whole lot better.
Yeah, this doesn't have nearly the sound. So the two of us are going to head out to Boone, North Carolina and meet up with the other 25 to 30 riders. And we're leaving our lovely cabin, even though we really don't want to leave. Because once you're here and you're surrounded by this goodness that we are surrounded by, why would you want to leave? I call this the Kirby Goodness Road. You'll know why in just a second. It's an outstanding road up to this cabin I stayed at near a place called New Tazewell, Tennessee. There's actually a place just called Tazewell, and then there's New Tazewell. Now, New Tazewell was, I think, incorporated or whatever it's called in 1889 or something, or it's like over 100 years ago. So I don't know why they still call it new. And then the people of Old Tazewell or just Tazewell, I'm sure they've got an inferiority complex now that they have the new people. You know, they traded up for a younger model. But this is about 15 miles out from New Tazewell, and it's in a cabin that I've been staying at. And my wife's cousin actually has a place up here, and you know, a couple months ago he said, hey, listen, if you're going to be up in the Tennessee area, if you want to crash for a couple nights, I'm just like, sure, hell yeah. And so I came up here before everybody else. Now I'll go into who's in front of me in just a second here. But I came up here like 2 or 3 days before the main ride happened. And I tell you what, if you've never been out here, it's absolutely gorgeous out here. I mean, just the road itself, and this road is like perfect for motorcycles. It's about 3 or 4 miles long, rough guess. And it's all it is, what we're doing right now. It's just all twisties, and you know, the only bad thing is, you know, if you don't, the GPS where we're at right now doesn't work. Well, I mean, the Harley does, but the Harley interface is basically designed by a 3-year-old, so it's kind of hard to read. But when I came out here, the night I actually came out here, it was raining really hard, about 10, 15 miles before I got in here. And so I had my glasses off so I couldn't see, and then all of a sudden I'm following the, you know, Google Maps on the phone, and the next thing you know, it goes out, and I'm like, shit. So I'm riding around here, trying to, you know, without any glasses, try to read the Harley, designed by a 3-year-old interface. And then I found this road. This is a trip. I found this road called Hemlock Way. It's Hemlock Drive or Hemlock Way. So went around and, you know, started going around. And then all of a sudden I see these 2 people just sitting there chilling out on the front porch. Wave to them, howdy, you know, and, you know, local folk. Next thing you know, about 5 minutes later, I passed him again. Then passed him again. Went through this road 3 times because I had no idea where the hell I was. Finally, I stopped, and me being dad humor, you know, stupid, I go up to him and say, hey, listen, I just passed Sinai Drive, and then I passed Chloroform Way, and I'm lost. And they look at me like, what the hell are you talking about? You know, they didn't get my humor with the Hemlock thing. And so they just looked at me, and I could tell, you know, they're thinking like, this dumb city ass. even though I'm not from the city, I kind of live in the country, but I came across as a dork. They got me situated and they pointed me in the right direction. Finally, I made it home, or made it to the cabin. But I mean, look at these roads, just up and down. I mean, we're in a mountain right now, so that's Doug in front of me. Doug is from Indianapolis, so he came down actually on the third night I was here, and that bike in front of me, I introduced it earlier, thing is like freaking a giant ass bike. It's a Honda Goldwing. So that's him leading the way. And if you've ever seen, you know what that helmet reminds me of, and you probably can't see it from here, but he's got that, you know, he's got a camera on top of his helmet, and it's got a cord attached to it. It reminds me of a Teletubby. If you've ever seen that, like the yellow Teletubby just seems like, you know, dead ringer for it. Damn, Doug, he took off. I'm just chilling, relaxing, going around these curbs at like 15, 20 miles an hour. He's tearing it up. And actually, this is the first, there he is, waiting for me. Look at, hurry up. Anyway, this is the first day that I've actually filmed. I don't know why I didn't film. Well, actually, I do know why I didn't film coming up here. And it's a 10-hour ride from Maryland, where I live, to get out here. It ended up taking me about 12 hours, you know, with stopping and everything. And I didn't film because the night before I came up here, I was actually, and prefaces by saying it was like I'd been up since 5 in the morning the previous morning. So I had slept, so I got this wild hair and said, you know what? I think I'm gonna ride all night. I'm gonna leave at like midnight, get here around 10 or 11, crash for like 4 or 5 hours, and I'll be here. And so I'm packing, doing all this stuff. It's like 12 midnight, and all of a sudden, I'm like, I'm about ready to go, and I was getting tired. And so my wife looks at me and said, why don't you just take a, you know, like 2 or 3 hour nap and then just leave in the morning? And I'm like, I did not want to. So I ended up doing that, and I fell asleep about 1 a.m., got up at 4. So I was dog tired. And that's worse, actually, when you take a nap and then you wake up and feel like I should have just gone straight through. But I'm kind of glad I didn't, because at the end of the day, I would have been up over 24 straight hours riding a bike. That wasn't really too smart. So by the time I got on the bike, pumped full of coffee, I probably drank like 2 full pots of coffee. Just didn't feel like filming. Didn't have it in me. Didn't feel like chatting, didn't feel like talking. I just felt like taking in the sights. And I rode down through Virginia, but I'd say 50-60% of the ride was highway, so that's boring as hell. But the first part was all twisty roads, but coming out here, once you get closer, you know, once you get off the main highway on this road, friggin' phenomenal. I mean, I could play on this road for so many hours. I mean, just going back and forth. It's kind of a hidden gem. Good. You imagine like living right here. They've got a nice little pond, gazebo, overlooking the lake. Can't beat that. Even though I called this road the Kirby Goodness Road, it's kind of like more of like the tail of the mini dragon. Even though I haven't been on the dragon yet. We are this trip, but I haven't been there yet. All curves. Woo-hoo.